So about a month ago, I got a really good deal on a property. I reached out to this guy that was selling the property and I created a deal with him, and he had two properties, he had to sell one. And so he said, hey, basically if you buy it for $1,000 more than what I have into it, it's yours. So I bought it for $186,000. And I knew that the property would probably appraise at $245,000. And he'd already done a lot of the work. And so I didn't have to do anything when I bought the property. I just had to come with a rag and clean a couple things up. But check this out. So this was the property right here. Okay. So I bought this at the very end of March in 2026, this year. And I bought it again under market value. But that's because I am a real estate investor and I do this all the time. But when people are just starting out investing in real estate, do you know how they buy properties? Let me show you. I'm going to run over the 3 different scenarios here, and I'm going to show you how much money you need to bring to the table for each of the different scenarios. Check this out. In scenario number 1, we have the purchase price being $245,000. Most of the time when people are new when it comes to buying real estate, they go and they get a realtor and they talk with the realtor and they say, hey, look, I want to buy an investment property. So the realtor is looking around for an investment property and they say, hey, I think this is a good one. This is in a good neighborhood, or this one is already all finished up. And so, it's ready to go. It's turnkey. So they usually buy properties at market value. Now, at this time in the market, a lot of people are asking the seller to pay for their closing costs. So in this scenario right here, I have the purchase price being $245,000, and then I say that there's no closing costs when you purchase it because you're going to ask the seller to pay the closing costs. Okay, so your total into the deal is about $245,000. Well, most of the time you have to put about 25% down if it is an investment property. There are some situations where they'll allow you to put just 20% down, but we're just going to talk about the normal situation where you have to put 25% down. So in this scenario, you're going to go ahead and put down $61,250, and you're going to get a loan for $183,750. Now you're charging rent at $1,775. Your principal and interest payments at 6.5% are $1,161. Your taxes, insurance, and HOA payment is about $250. And so your cash flow is about $364. So that's how much money you make every month as long as the property is tenanted and everything is good and taken care of with the property. In this scenario, this property was recently just rehabbed, and so we're gonna say that the property is good to go, that you don't have any maintenance costs over the next few years, okay? Which is unlikely, but in this scenario, I'm trying to make everything simplified. So in this deal, you have to bring in $61,250 in order to get this property. And that's what a lot of investors do, especially at the beginning. So now let's go over scenario 2. In scenario 2, you figured out a way to only bring in about 5.5% as a down payment. So everything's the same. We have the purchase price being the same, and then no closing costs because you asked the seller to pay the closing costs. And here you have the loan for $231,750, and you only brought in about 5.5%. So you have to bring in $13,250. Your rent is the same, $1,775, but now your principal and interest payments are much higher because you have a higher loan. So your payments are $1,465 a month. Tax and insurance are the same, so you're only cash flowing $60 a month. And to be honest, sometimes it's hard to get a loan unless you have a property that's cash flowing more. But we're gonna say in this scenario, you were able to figure out how to get a loan. You had to bring in only 5.5% down, and you're cash flowing about $60 a month, and you only had to bring in about $13,250. Now let's go over scenario 3. This is the type of scenario that I get in most of the time. So the purchase price for the same house was only $168,000. So how did I do that? Well, I found a property under market value. Most of the properties that I find are under market value, whether it's a scenario where somebody wants to sell me the property really quickly, or maybe the property's distressed. Usually you can find a property under market value if the seller's distressed or if the property's distressed. So in this situation, the seller was distressed and I got a great deal on it. So I bought it for $168,000. I had to come to closing with $5,000 to help pay for the closing costs because in this scenario, the seller isn't really motivated to pay for my closing costs because I'm getting such a great deal. So right here, you see when I purchase it, I have to pay for the closing costs the first time, and then when I refinance the property, I have to pay for closing costs the second time. So I'm really paying $197,000 for this property. So I have the same loan as I did in scenario number 1, but I only had to leave in $13,250. So here's my rent, principal and interest, tax, insurance, HOA. So I'm actually cash flowing $364. But in this scenario, I only had to bring in $13,250, and my loan is only $183,000. So the difference between my loan in scenario 3 and scenario 2 is $48,000. So I was able to save $48,000 by finding a good deal with the property. In scenario 3, when I was able to find the property well under market value, I was able to come in with only $13,250 rather than $61,250. So I was able to save $48,000 and put that in my pocket. The difference between scenario 3 and scenario 2 is that I was able to only have a balance of $183,750 at the beginning of my loan. You see, in scenario 2, the loan is for $231,750. And it would take that person 12 and a half years to get to where my loan is at now. So if you want to learn how to do these deals like I do these deals, reach out to me and I will show you how. Where I can help you keep $48,000 in your pocket so you can do more deals, or I can help you save 12 and a half years. So go ahead and reach out and let me show you how to do these BRRRR deals. Have a fantastic